Meeting January 12th, year 2021. First, I'd like to start this invocation with Pastor Renee Phillips from River Hope of Christian Fellowship Church. I'm not sure if she's here. Is Renee here? I don't think so. No? Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to give the invocation. Everybody, please, will you rise for the invocation? Father God, as we gather in the city council meeting, I ask for your hand and the blood of Jesus to be over each and every one of us, to give us guidance, to give us counsel, for your words and your work to be in demonstration and in the forefront. I'd like to also include a special prayer of we have lost, many in this community have suffered a lot of personal loss. And I ask for a covering and blessing on families that are all close to each and every one of us, as they mourn the loss of friends and family. This has been a trying past year, and it seems like 2021 is off to the same start. And I ask all and every one of all Odessans to come together and to hold each and every Odessan close to their heart as we painfully continue this year. And we ask of all of this, Father God, in your name, and all of God's children responded by saying, Amen. Amen. Will be followed by the pledge and the Texas pledge by Councilmember Willis.
You would join me, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state of God, one and indivisible.
I'll be seated. Item 3 on the agenda, we are going to start with a proclamation. This presentation will be to Ector County Independent School District, School District Board recognition. Dr. Howard and ECISD on the board, as we recognize board members Kel Gregg, Delma Avalos, Dr. Donna Smith, Chris Stanley, Dr. Stephen Brown, Tammy Hawkins, and Nelson Menard. Dr. Howard. We'd like to present this proclamation, City of Odessa. Do you mind if I want to read it now? Bear with me, okay? So whereas the mission of the public school is to meet the diverse educational needs of all children, to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society and to an ever-changing world. And whereas Ector County Independent School District, ECISD board members are committed to children and believe that all children can be successful learners, and that the best education is tailored to individuals' needs of the child. And whereas ECISD board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create educational vision we want for our students, and whereas ECISD board members are responsible for ensuring the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system, and whereas ECISD board members are strong advocates for public education, are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to public expectations to the district. Now, therefore, I, Javier Oben, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Odessa, Texas, do hereby declare my appreciation to the members of the Ector County Independent School District Board of Trustees and proclaim the month of January 2021 as ECISD School Board Recognition Month. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Mayor Hoban. On behalf of of the school board, Dr. Mary, we actually are having a school board meeting right now as well, so Mike and I will head out as soon as this is over. But on behalf of them, we appreciate Mayor Hoven, city council members, the entire city of Odessa for the support. You all know that being an elected official is a thankless job. You can be really popular one minute and not so popular the next minute, especially this last year has seemed to be even more challenging than usual. And so thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it, and we will actually be presenting this to our board members next week at our regular meeting. So again, they apologize for not being able to be here. They do appreciate you acknowledging them and the work that they do for our students.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next presentation is going to be for our outgoing council members, and we will go in the order of Michael Shelton, Dewey Bryant, Peggy Dean, and the outgoing Honorable Mayor David Turner. We would like to recognize and honor outgoing mayor and council members. So on behalf of the entire city council, the city of Odessa, the city of Odessa staff, employees, and citizens of our community, we want to be able to give our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation today. The time and dedication and commitment that were demonstrated through each of your leadership. First, we'd like to start with the Reverend Michael Shelton. Mr. Shelton was appointed to the council in April of 2020 to fill a vacancy on the city council. We want to be able to recognize Reverend Shelton along with other outgoing city council members. Now, I do have to apologize for the reason is that your plaque is in delivery. And so as soon as we get it, we will have another presentation for you, sir. Now, once we do get it, you will receive it. So what we would like to do is present you with this gift in addition to the plaque that will be coming here soon. That is wrapped. Will you mind go ahead and open it? And afterwards, if you want to be able to address the city of Odessa and the staff, we really greatly appreciate it.
Oh, why are y'all gonna give me something like this?
But you deserve it.
This is all over.
Sure.
Now you need a man cave wrapped around that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I miss you all very much. And I want to say to the city of Odessa and to the fire department, chief of police and everything, I want to say that I have a wonderful time working with y'all. Y'all are committed to the job that y'all set out to do. And I want to say to y'all, keep up the good work. I always will have you in my prayers. And be safe out there. Please be safe out there. And I want to say to my friend, Mayor Turner, Dewey, and Peggy, it's been a joyful time working with y'all on the council. It was an honor to me to work for this city. I'm from a big city. I'm from the city of Philadelphia. And I worked with the mayor up there. I worked on the police commission board with the mayor up there. But to come down here and work with y'all, my heart is Odessa. I love what I do. I'm committed to what I do. And anytime you need me, just give me a holler. I want to say to the council, the new elected council, thank y'all for the opportunity for me working with y'all. And it's a pleasure to work with the council and you too, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. No, don't worry about that. We'll grab it. Okay. Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Let me just go. Oh, you still got more to open. So next we would like to honor is our outgoing Honorable Peggy Dean. Ms. Dean served for 2 years. Ms. Dean served as the first at-large council member. She brought to the table, to the city, her financial talents to the table. Ms. Dean, we want to present you with this plaque. And if you don't mind, I would like to, this is heavy, I'd like to be able to read it. To Ms. Peggy Dean, council member at large, November 2018 to November 2020. In acknowledgement of her unselfish service, unremitting loyalty, inspirational guidance, this tablet is presented by a grateful city to the city of Odessa, November 2020. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And also, we'd like to present you with your own street sign.
I have a place for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can't put it in your street now.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to just take just a couple of minutes to thank some very special people. First off, I'd like to thank our outgoing council members, Dewey and David and Michael. We've had a great run, and I think done some really wonderful things. And of course to Mira and Tom and Deetra. Wow, these have become my good buddies, and I already miss you. I want to thank the chief of police, the fire chief, all of our public safety people, because this has been a rough 2 years. You know, it started August 31st, then we had COVID, and then we've had all of this unemployment, and it's been a hard time. And so I really appreciate everything that our public safety people have done to ensure our safety. I want to thank Michael and Philip and Cindy. Thank you for all of my tireless questions. And Randy and Natasha is the city attorney. And of course, Norma, who always responds to all of the requests. Thank you so much for letting me serve with you. I wanted to just say a couple of things. You know, the citizens entrust us with the responsibility of assessing problems and making the best out of many hard decisions. I felt like our decisions were based on information, facts, and my understanding of what the majority of the citizens would want us to do. I leave this office with a renewed understanding of what the city can and cannot do, and with prayers for each of you as you continue with this great responsibility. I'm at your service on committees or task forces in the future as I change my role from a voice of the council to a voice of the people. I pledge to each of you that my questions will be fair and my mind open to your decisions. Stay safe, stay strong.
Our next presentation is to the outgoing Honorable Council Member Dewey Bryant. Mr. Bryant served for 8 years as a council member. Mr. Bryant provided years of dedication to improving the quality of life to all the citizens of Odessa and of our community. So on behalf of the city staff, and all the citizens, Mr. Bryant's already been given his plaque. And so what we would also like to do is present him with a special gift. And this is also a street sign, along with the street.
Great.
And, sir, if you don't mind, a few words
Sure.
to the citizens of Odessa.
Sure.
You know, I can't be remiss to say that, gosh, it's been a great 8 years. I just appreciate the opportunity that I had to serve as a District 2 representative. You know, the other thing was, gosh, what a great group of people to work with. Thank you so much, Mira, Tom, Deetra. Thank you so much, Peggy, Reverend, Honorable Mayor. It's just been an absolute pleasure to work side by side with a group that faced an awful lot of challenges. And met those challenges with prayer and met those challenges together and moved forward from there. You know, I said this before, and when I got my plaque, it was virtual, so I said this. I'm going to make sure I say some of these things again. So anyway, and the staff members, gosh, chiefs, thank y'all so much for all you do to protect our citizens. Cannot thank you enough. All of you, all the ones that do the day-to-day things within the city. It's a task and it's accomplished very well. Cindy, Philip, thank you all so much. Michael, it's always a pleasure. Gosh, as I've always said about Michael, I've known him since he was here down to here. So it's been a long, wonderful, and friendship will always remain that way. Randy, thank you. I'll leave it with one more thing, and I think it's the most important thing that I can leave with, and that is we are the city of Odessa. And it is so important that we pray together, we take care of our neighbors, we take care of each other, and we move forward as this great city is. I think the most important thing that I learned from this is that I'd like to thank everybody, but time won't allow it. But I'd just like to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity and honor of serving beside you in the right place in Texas, Odessa strong, where in God we trust.
Amen.
The last presentation of the evening to the Honorable Mayor David Turner. Mr. Turner served our city for 8 years. We want to thank you for all your hard work, your commitment, and your compassion for this community. Your public service was unwavering. The dedication and devotion that you showed and gave us for those 8 years to a grateful city will never be forgotten. I'll add this. Your leadership that took us to some of the most unimaginable things that we as a city ever faced and never imagined gave us reassurance. I want to personally thank you and my family for what you did that tragic day when we had terror in our streets. With you, the city staff, first responders, your steadfast leadership, we will always be in debt to you. So I want to talk to you. On behalf of the grateful city, we want to be able to present you with this plaque. And if you don't mind giving me a moment, I'd like to read it off. To David R. Turner, Mayor, November 2012 to November 2020, in acknowledgement of his unselfish service, unremitting loyalty, inspirational guidance. This tablet represents by a grateful city, City of Odessa, Texas, November 2020. It's the least we can do, sir. Thank you very much. And I promise we will put it in the budget to be able to pay Turner Road real good.
First, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. I first want to say thank you to my family. They stood beside us through some pretty rough things. That horrible day in August, through COVID, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, kids. Especially thank you, grandkids. I had the pleasure of serving with 4 different councils. By far, this is my favorite. My dynamic duo, Councilmember White, Councilmember Willis, Councilmember Strauss, wherever you are, there you are. Councilmember Bryant, Councilmember Dean, Councilmember Shelton. I firmly believe that God put Christians in the place that He did for that horrible day. That day is something unlike something we've never seen, but we got through it through God's grace. God was with us. We did lose some people, but we got through it. Through this horrible COVID, I thank y'all for your friendship. I thank you for the prayers. I thank you for the encouragement. And I thank you just for being there. Staff is amazing. Michael, I believe you were in place for August 31st. Along with Devin, Chief Gerke, Chief Alvarez, you couldn't have made us more proud. You were strong. I remember when I walked in the room and saw you and Chief Gerke with tears in both of your eyes. But you said, we're going to get through this. And we did. Randy, you've been fantastic. Norma, you kept me in line and kept me doing the paperwork and all that, and I really appreciate it. Natasha's not here, but I want to thank her. And thank all of the employees of the city. They are absolutely fantastic. We couldn't ask for better leadership, for better commitment. Our first responders are absolutely amazing. And to the citizens of Odessa, we've been through some rough times. There's no saying rough times don't last, but good people do. Keep praying for each other. Keep loving each other. We'll get through COVID, and we'll walk out the other side. Thank you very much, and God bless each and every one of you.
In the last presentation, we want to be able to present you with your gavel in case you want to be able to call a meeting to order in your home and see if somebody
We'll see how that goes.
That's not going to happen. So,
That's
your gavel.
self-defense. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay, now for the boring stuff on the agenda. The consent agenda. Any member of the public may address the city council regarding any of its items on this agenda before or during the consideration of any of its items on the consent agenda. These items are considered to be routine and have been previously discussed and can be approved in one motion, unless the council member asks for a separate consideration of any item. If you can overlook the consent agenda, give it a minute.
Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second by Councilwoman Beecher. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by indicating nay. Motion passes. On other council action, item 1, we'd like to consider a bid award to construct various sports courts at Floyd Gwen Park. Item will be discussed and presented by Park Director Steve Penn. Steve, you need it? You have the microphone up here.
Is it on now?
You can grab that. Got it.
Try this one? Okay. Me with the microphone? How much time do you have? I love to talk about the Parks Department. What time is it? The Floyd Gwen Park is now under construction or about to be under construction underneath.
What number? Oh,
This was number 1?
okay.
Okay. Floyd Gwen Park has been in the making for many, many years and is part of the Odessa Parks Master Plan for improvements. And this is the last of the big community parks to be renovated in those recommendations of our Parks and Recreation Master Plan. We've looked at the different, I would say, items or venues of construction, and we've divided up some of those items to get a better price on individual items for construction. The first phase of construction is scheduled to start immediately upon the City Council's approval of this particular item. This particular item is all of the concrete sport courts, which is 3 concrete volleyball courts, which is this area right here, 3 basketball courts, and 2 tennis courts. All of those will be lighted, post-tension concrete slabs with safety surfacing like our other courts. Top-notch, top quality. And we got really good bids, very competitive bids, and we have line items for every one of our items that we are taking under construction, and this one did come in to the line item budget that we have established, and we are making a recommendation that this be awarded to Onyx Contractors in the amount of $707,720. The other bid that we did have, of course, was from Tommy Hawkins for $754. We also had J.C. Roberts Construction for $797. So we did have some competitive bids. Staff and the landscape architecture group, they do recommend an award of bid. Any comments?
Anybody have any comments, any questions for Mr. Patton?
Steve, what is the timeline for completion? It's not on.
It's not on?
Okay. The timeline for completion?
Okay.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
The timeline for completion,
Yes.
this would start immediately, and demolition would start just as quick as where they could get mobilists on it. So we would have this particular phase to be finished probably about spring. Now, the remainder of the entire project would be our 3 baseball fields, also some improvements around Floyd Gwynn, the gym itself, new parking lot, walking trails, some lighting, upgrades on the electrical, 2 big picnic pavilions, and some other pavilions, and also an expansion of the playground. All of that will be bid out, and the bids will be open in February. So we're looking at March, April date for the remainder of the project to start, and it'll take about a year to build the entire thing.
Do you know if youth baseball is able to play this spring? Are they going to be able to utilize them?
No, we're planning to go to McKinney Park,
Okay.
and our crews have started working on those fields to get those up to par.
They've been aware of that.
Yes, working with them on that.
Any more questions,
I don't
comments?
have any questions, but I just want to compliment Steve Patton and his staff and all who have worked. This has been a work in progress, and they've gone to the drawing board and come back and went back and come back and went back, and it's an excellent finished project. And so to everyone that had something to do with it, I applaud you.
Thank you, Councilman. It's gonna be great.
Now,
Great improvement. It's been a number of years since we've had any improvements to Floyd Gwynn, and some of the elements that we're putting back into the park are gonna complement the historical significance of the park, and I think that'll be a lot of fun for the redevelopment of the park.
These are monies from certificate of obligation from the 2019?
That's correct.
And what was the amount? 8?
The amount allocated is $8,450,000
Okay.
total for this particular phase of the project.
Any more questions and comments for Steve? So do I have a motion to?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Willis, second by Deidre. All in favor by indicating by aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicate by nay. The ayes have it, motion passes. Item 2.
Thank you.
We will now open a public hearing to consider the approval of the request by Bidbo Homes, owner to rezone from Special Dwelling District SPD to Special Dwelling District Surface Drainage SD on 2.49 acres of land in Section 35, Lot 42. T1SP, PNR, TNPR Company, Surrey City of Odessa, Ector County, Texas. It is a proposed right-of-ridge 8th filing, southeast section of East 91st and Wagon Way. This is ordinance, first reading and first approval. Mr. Brindley?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Property involved in this request is located southeast of East 91st and Wagon Way. The site is currently zoned special dwelling district, and this request would actually put a surface drainage designation onto the zoning, so the subsequent zoning would be surface or special dwelling district surface drainage. And what this would do would facilitate the development of a 2.5-acre regional detention basin. Now, but in the case of big no homes, they do own the property, and this request is consistent with the land use plan of the city's master plan. It would not have a negative impact on this site or on adjacent properties, and the proposed zoning would not be a conflict with existing land uses that are in the adjacent area. The Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval of this request, and the planning staff does concur with the recommendation for approval. Be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Brindley? I will consider a motion for approval.
So moved.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilwoman Detra, second by Mr. Mata. All in favor by indicating aye.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry?
We don't
It's a
vote.
public
Oh,
hearing.
it's not a vote? Okay, I'm
It's a
sorry,
vote.
I apologize, I will retract that.
Sheila.
It's a vote after the public hearing.
Open a public hearing.
I'm sorry, it is an, yep, I was wondering everybody looking at me. It is an open public hearing, so anybody would, like to be able to, speak on this item, they can do so by coming forth, indicating your name and address. Seeing that nobody's coming forth, I will close the open public hearing. I will now entertain a motion for approval. I have a motion by Councilwoman Detra. Can I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilwoman Swanner. All in favor, indicating aye.
Aye.
All opposed by indicating nay. Motion passes. Item 3, we're opening a public hearing to consider the approval request by 155 Southeast Loop 338 LLC owner for original zoning of light industrial on lots 9 through 27, Block 2, Industrial Site District southeast of the intersection of Business Interstate 20, Loop 338. This is an ordinance, first approval. Mr. Brindley?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. The property involved in this request is located southeast of the intersection of Business 20 and Loop 338. The site is currently designated future development. It is occupied by a vacant office building. This is the former Keith's Eye Clinic. The applicant in the case is 155 Southeast Loop 338 LLC. They do own this site. And the purpose of the zoning request of light industrial would facilitate the development of transitional housing on this site. The associated civic use permit for transitional housing will be presented to council at the next meeting, so you can't consider it at that time. The request is not out of line with the city of Odessa's comprehensive plan, land use plan. The proposed use will be in a location that meets ordinance requirements and standards for transitional housing. It would not have a negative impact on this property or on adjacent properties. And the request, the requested zoning would be in line with the proposed use and with the surrounding land uses in this area. The Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval of this request, and be happy to answer any questions related to the request.
Anybody have any questions or comments to Mr. Brindley? This is an open public hearing. I will open it up. For anyone want to come forward and speak on this item, please come forth, state your name and address for the record.
George Satterfield, I'm the manager, P.O. Bothwell, 375 Spur 1189, Dennis, Texas. I am a Texan. I appreciate you guys having me, and thank you all for listening to us. This is for a transitional home. We've done a lot of things. We've got over 10,000 square feet of classroom. We've reached out to some really good investors in this area. David Cutler from Monahans, in fact, one of our lead investors with his brother Henry. What we're doing is we are helping young men to get reestablished in the community, to be a healthy, effective, financially self-supportive person coming from prison, from different state institutions, from some people from drug problems, broken families, different things like this. The reason why I'm here today more than anything is because I wanted to tell y'all that we're not taking in high-level, long-term offenders. Most of these guys are first-time offenders. A lot of it is with drug offenses. Some of it is with burglary and theft and so forth like that. But when you get out of the prison or jail here in the state of Texas, they give you $100. Unless you have family support, some sort of support, you're going to return relatively quickly to the life they know. A lot of these guys have never even had a job. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be training them both in the classroom and hands-on training with things like diesel mechanic, it's a 2-year school. Auto mechanic is a 2-year school. Truck driving and logistics. Welding, we're going to have 34 stations of welding where we take them all the way from never touching the welding machine to being certified. All of our things that we're teaching are accredited. So once they finish with our program, then we'll take that certificate, and we will also help with job placement. We've reached out to a lot of truck driving places here. You all know for a fact that whenever Ector County and the surrounding counties are booming with the oil field, these are jobs that are very, very hard to come by. But the best thing is they're very well-paying jobs, starting at 25 up an hour, with 84 hours a week guaranteed. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to change not just people's thinking, but the way that they're doing this. We're state funded. We're also, like I said, we have investors. We've got over $6.1 million in not just the classrooms and the housing, but we have 2 housing facilities here locally. One here, obviously, another just outside of Crane, T-Rex Lodge. We're turning that all in.
3 minutes are up.
Go ahead and finish your thought. Go ahead and finish that.
Thank you, sir. And so we've put a lot into this, and we expect to get a lot out of it. We're going to help Ector County. We're going to help these young men reestablish a life for themselves, a life without crime. And, you know, one of these days, they're going to be your neighbor. So appreciate you guys having me. Thank y'all. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
You said it was a temporary home, did I understand that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where's are you planning on outgrowing it?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
that's fair.
Temporary, as long as they're in our school. They do 4 hours of classroom.
Okay.
And then 4 hours, but it could take up to 2 years, so it is temporary housing, yes.
I misunderstood when you said it's temporary. I thought the placement of the school was temporary, but it's permanent. It's the residents and the students.
Yes, sir. About the school, we have a 10,000 square foot of classroom and 15,000 square foot of $6.1 million altogether.
Yes, sir, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
You know that transitional housing has become a little controversial, you know, in some of the
Sure,
areas.
absolutely.
And that, I commend you guys for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And prayers for the success of the men that are going through your program.
Thank
Do
you.
you guys, what kind of safeguards do you put in place? Do you drug test them periodically, or is there someone that stays there that monitors their activities? How's this set up?
Both extremely good questions, and thank you for that. We drug test randomly, by the luck of the draw, if you will, but also if there's a suspicion of any sort whatsoever. These guys are coming to us with state support, family support, church support, different things like that. We're taking nobody in, just walk in. It's not a hotel for convicts, okay? This is a very structured program. Each group of men of 30 will have a representative with them at all times, whether in the classroom, at the facility itself, We're gonna house 86-year 200 at T-Rex Lodge, which is not up yet. It's actually in Crane, believe it or not, we're right on the line. But there is daily oversight, if you will. We have management and staff on site. Sherry Mata, which she's our educator, working on her PhD. She has a math. She's an online professor right now, and she's overseeing all of that. We also have drug counseling. We have anger management classes. We have reuniting with the family, what we like to call bringing the family back in, reuniting the family. So we have set days for visitations, set times for visitations as well. But what we're trying to do is just get them to the point where they can make it in the real world.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
And so they're not all from Odessa, I probably missed that, but do they apply to come in?
You're absolutely correct. There is an application process. They have to apply, they have to be approved. And you're really glad you asked this because I blew right past it. In our application, the application for approval, there's things like family history, all kinds of different questions about education. We have an entire section on what did you grow up doing? What did your dad do? And we try to place them in that vein that, the DNA don't fall far from the tree. Unless it's bad DNA, we're going to get that out of there, okay? But it's extensive. They have to come with support, okay? Whether it be from a church, a family, the state. It's called the Second Chance Program. It's a wonderful program put together by our great governor. And so it's not easy, but it's available. But the reason why we made it like that is because making it easy, we want them to apply. Tell us why you want to come here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for what you do.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if they're approved and then they mess up and they go back to jail, when they get back out, are they up for reapproval or are you automatically remove them from the process?
They would be removed from our program completely.
Do you have any statistics on those that complete your program versus going back to prison?
The recidivism rate for the people that could complete our programs is less than 15% people go back.
Okay, that's good.
It is a very successful program. Very successful program. I've been doing this for over 20 years.
Any more questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is an open public hearing. Anybody else wishing to come and address this issue? Please step forward, state your name and address. Seeing there's no one coming forward, I'll entertain a motion
So moved.
for approval.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Dietrich, second by Councilman Mata. All indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Brennan. We're on again. Item 4, open a public hearing to consider the approval of the original zoning request by Chance Trucking, owner, S.W. Howe, agent of Light Commercial LC on approximately 2.7 acre tract in section 45, block 42, T2S, TNP, RY Company, Odessa, Ector County, Texas, south of the intersection of Crane Avenue and US Highway 385. This is an ordinance first approval. Mr. Brinley?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This property is located on Crane Highway, South 385. It is south of Crane Avenue, comes into the Crane Highway. This site is currently designated future development. It is vacant. Land use in the area does consist of industrial and commercial development and vacant land. The applicant in this case is Champ Trucking. They are requesting original zoning of light commercial, and this would facilitate commercial development on this site. The rezone request is located on an entry corridor to the city, and this was established several years back by a previous city council. The proposed original zoning request of light commercial is not contrary to the established land uses in this area. It is not contrary to the City of Odessa's master plan or land use plan. The proposed zoning would not have a negative impact on this property or on adjacent properties. And this would be consistent with the existing zoning in the area, and it would be consistent with the proposed use of this property and consistent with an entry corridor designation. The Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval of this request. Planning staff does concur with this recommendation for approval, and we'd have to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments with Mr. Brindley? This is an open hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this item, please come forward. State your name and address for the record. Seeing that no one is coming forward, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilman Spalls. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have one by Councilman Swanner. All in favor be indicating by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion passes. We're now to item 5. Open public hearing to consider approval request by Marco Davis, owner, Motley Capital LLC agent, to rezone from Office O to Retail R on Lot 11, Block 8, Permanent Plaza, Odessa, Ector County, Texas, southwest of the intersection of 52nd Street and Twin Towers Boulevard. This is an ordinance. First approval. Mr. Brindley?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. The property involved in this request is located at 5125 Wayland Drive. It is southwest of the intersection of 52nd and 10 Twin Tower Boulevard. Try to say that real fast. Site is vacant. It is currently zoned office. Land use in the area does consist of office, retail, and multifamily residential development, as well as a church in this area. The applicant in this case is Marco Davis. He is the owner, and the purpose of the rezoning request from office to retail would expand development and use options for a site that's approximately 1.25 acres. The proposed rezone request is not contrary to established land uses in this area. It's not contrary to the city's master plan or land use plan. This would not have a negative impact on this site or on adjacent properties. This site would be encircled by multifamily residential development to both the north and the west. To the south and east is both the office and retail development. So this is a very good transitional use for properties of this nature. The Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval of this request, and planning staff does concur with this recommendation for approval, and be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or statements, Mr. Brindley? This is an open public hearing. Anyone wishing to consider or to be able to speak on this item can come forward by stating their name and address. Seeing that no one's come forward, I will close it. I will entertain a motion on this item 5 to consider for approval a request by Marco Davis, owner, Motley Capital LLC.
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilman Mata, second by Mr. Spall. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicate by saying nay. Motion passes. Mr. Brindley, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Next item, we're going into miscellaneous, item 6. To consider and discuss and take any necessary action regarding any and all issues related to COVID-19. I asked the staff to be able to put this on the agenda simply as something that will be on the agenda to be able to discuss anything related to COVID. It's just broad, it's an umbrella for us to be able to ask questions. I've been attending some of the Zoom and been talking to a lot of everyone that's been involved, from IC Command to our emergency management coordinator. Been talking to different officials. I've had meetings all day. And basically it's just a way to put everything in a corridor where we can be able to speak with all us in the room without me having 6 different meetings. And so basically that's it. What I have asked is some of the staff to be here. Mr. Tippett is here. So basically what I want to really do to ask Mr. Tippett to step forward. One of the things that I've been able to, as being mayor here, that I've had the pleasure of being able to sit in a lot of these meetings. Some of the things that the hospital's been tasked with, and the thing is that we had that first phase of vaccinations. And the thing is, they were able to handle. You received about 2,600, and the experience they were able to do it without any incidents is commendable. I want to be able to, as mayor and the council, be able to thank you for being able to get through that as seamlessly as you did, especially with everything that's tasked on top of the hospital staff with dealing with the COVID patients. On top of that, staff shortages. To be able to come up with a vaccination process that went just smoothly. I just want to be able to be grateful community as we are now going into a different phase and then be tasked with a mass vaccination process in the future if we wind up getting fulfill the request that you have. It gives me a lot of reassurance as we start doing that planning that we'll be able to address all the little concerns. It's just a massive undertaking, and I don't think anybody really in the community got to see and hear what I saw of what that undertaking is. And so I just wanted to be able to put this on the agenda tonight to be able to thank you, and we look forward to working with you. And so, sir, hats off. You've done a great job. Please, relay that to the board and to each member of the medical staff. If you'd like to say a few words, I'd really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. When I was growing up, my mama always wanted me to be a preacher, so being in this church tonight with the microphone is going to make her feel really special. Thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for your kind words. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Ms. Timmons, Kristen Timmons here. She is our Chief Nursing Officer. So my job at the hospital is to look pretty and sign the paychecks. Ms. Timmons puts plans like what you saw that rolled out our vaccine together. She hands me that plan and says, let's get this going. And it was seamless. The way we moved the vaccines out was just great. We did learn a lot of things in there. One thing we did learn is when we start a mass rollout, we need more space, and just things like that. We have been working pretty close with Mr. Huber here and all his crew who have been behind us and beside us and pushing us and chasing us the entire time, just to help us get ready for this next wave. I have sent up a major request through the state for vaccine. You may have seen that on the news. 25,000 is what we've asked for. I don't know if that will come one at a time or if that will come 500 at a time. We're just waiting to see what that looks like. We got through our first initial set of vaccine that was given to our first responders, to our nurses, school teachers. Just following the list, we were able to open that up a little bit towards the end to get a few more people in. We did receive 2,500 doses. We were able to squeeze 2,611, I believe, out of those 2,500. So there was a little bit extra in those. But we have worked seamlessly with your city folks, with Brooks Langraff, who's been a definite voice for us down in Austin, especially today, swearing in. Our positivity rate in Edgar County has come down. It was 16.9 or 16.2 Monday, and today it's 12.9. So it has come down. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, but at the same time, our number in the hospital has gone up. So we're just taking this day by day. But I know one thing is for sure: when groups work together, more gets accomplished. And when we get a plan and we send it to y'all, or we send it to the fire department, and the first response we get back is absolutely, how can we help you? Let's get this done. That's what it's going to take to mass vaccinate. When you start talking about Ector County, 150,000 people, but you got to think about everybody else that refers in the medical center, and that number gets real big, real quick, fast, in a hurry. That number gets huge. So we look forward to working with y'all. Rod, thank y'all for what y'all do and for the help y'all give us. We have a lot of behind-the-scenes calls and meetings, and and late night calls, and it's working, and it's a good group to work with. We're proud to hitch our wagons together to get this project started. City manager, he always takes our calls real quick and makes sure that we have what we need. And I'll relay your message to the board and to our nurses, Mayor, that those are true heroes up there. The ones that are in there day in, day out seeing this, they're my heroes, and they deserve all the love we can give them. So thank you very much for those words.
I just want to thank you for keeping those numbers under 15% and keep this economy and this, our city open. So, great job, great work. I know we're above 10, but we're down below 15, and we just want to be able to stay there. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I do like to ask one question. I'm not sure if this is for Ron or it'd be for Joey. The county did wind up receiving 200 vaccinations, if I'm correct. They didn't necessarily need one of our paramedics to work, but we did send someone over there to observe.
Yes, sir, we did.
Can you come forward and speak a little bit of what we learned and didn't learn from that first round at was it the Ector County Health Department?
Yes, we did help.
What was the number that they vaccinated, and did we learn anything from it? How did the experience go?
So the Ector County Health Department did get 200 vaccinations. They did request assistance with one paramedic, and we did give them one paramedic for 8 hours on Friday, and it went well. They did get some feedback. They had a after wash, and they're going to change a few things. I think they've got another 500 coming with the Ector County Health Department, and we're going to assist them when they ask for our assistance.
Was there a reaction in any of the 200 vaccinations?
I think they said they did have 2 or 3 reactions, and that was another reasons why it's good to have a paramedic there.
So 1 out of 200?
I think they had 2, maybe a couple of mild ones. I don't know the exact facts, but I think they did have 1. And sometimes you can have a vagal response too.
A what?
A vagal response.
What is that?
So sometimes you can have where you get real nervous and your anxiety kicks in, and it's more of a vagal response than say allergic reaction. That's up to a physician to make that diagnosis.
Okay.
But that's kind of what we suspected.
Well, the reason why I want to be able to highlight that out is for the reason is that, as we go forward and we wind up getting, if the hospital gets a request of $25,000, this is a really good measure for us to be able to see at a smaller scale, or potentially, it's like a dry run. Now if we go up to 500, really prepares us, makes me feel a lot better if we wind up doing a very massive. This will be a huge undertaking. And so the thing is that it's really a lot of assurances for me as I've seen what you guys have been rolling out, what's proposed, and I know in the future we're going to be able to sit down and talk a little bit more about the plan. I really encourage everyone on the council, if you've not seen it and gone to IC, please go visit, spend some time, ask a lot of detailed questions. I've got some questions, about 2 pages that I can disseminate to each and every one at a later time, but the thing is, it's a great job. Yes, sir. Mr. Alvarez?
And I will say that we also got feedback from Medical Center Hospital on their 2611 vaccinations. I know RMC did about 1,500 vaccinations.
Did we assist on those, or we just getting feedback for how that went?
We just got feedback and working in those communications.
I'd like to hear about how that went, if you don't mind, Mr. Alvarez.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to give you a quick, just an overview from my end as a fire chief and having our staff involved with all this incident command post. Obviously, they're doing a good job, no doubt about it. I think we have been very proactive from the word go. Excuse me. When this thing kicked off back in December, January, here comes February, where we're kind of like, okay, what's going to happen here? But I can assure you that we have been very proactive as a department, as a community, as a city. The first thing that we were running into was personal protective equipment. Okay, that was the first thing. I mean, we were trying to reach out to the Texas Division of Emergency Management through the STAR request, State of Assistance request through, emergency management, and as well as the JRAC from the medical component of our operation. So I can tell you that we've always been trying to do that, and then you can just imagine, because here comes the CDC with different guidelines. It seems like every week there was a different guideline for something. Something was changing all the time, it seemed like. But we pulled through it, and Mr. Morrell, he looked at every director, and he holds us accountable, no doubt about it. He says, you know what? I want a pandemic plan for every department, every division, and you will provide one. And we did. We provided one to Mr. Morrell, and I can assure you that our daily operations changed from that moment forward, because we no longer responded out to the community like we used to. Okay, so it's always important for me to bring that up, because I'm not sure if everybody's aware of what our community has done, our city has done for this COVID-19. When the CARES funding came in, Mr. Morrell was like, you know what, let's do something with this. Let's do something with this. And so we did. They got a task force together, a COVID-19 task force, put that together, and guess what? They went out and they did testing. 3,215 tests that were conducted with that CARES funding. Now, it was a drive-through testing, and it wasn't just the city of Odessa. It was UTPB, it was a Texas Tech Health Science Service, Jason Cooper, Assistant Medical Director, and UTPB, along with our city departments and ECISD. So that kind of took us through that phase. Then here we come in the summer. We're moving along in the summer now. The Texas Division of Emergency Management says, you know what, fire departments, I want you to go out and test every nursing home in this community. So you can just imagine what the fire departments were doing, because they made that mandate to the Texas Commission of Fire Protection. Well, that's who regulates us. And so what does the task force do? Boots on the ground again. They tested 7 nursing homes. Not only did they test those nursing homes, the staff and the patients there, but they were requested through the state operations to go and test, hey, could you please test Monahan's? Could you please test Crane for us? Guess what they did? They stepped up again. Okay? So that's just some of the things that have taken place. I know that there's the state that's doing the testing right now at Floydwin. Okay, so they're doing it, and I want to say it's over 500 that's been tested this week. So there's a lot that's going on. It's amazing that the unprecedented task that they've done, but we want to attribute that to the working relationships that we have with our partners and our stakeholders in this community. That's how it's been working. This whole time, we've had to work with one another. And when I speak of that, I'm speaking of the state of Texas. I'm talking about UTB, Medical Center, RMC, the school district, the JRAC, OPD, and then of course our city management. As I mentioned, their guidance and their leadership has allowed us to remain proactive in this fight that we're in right now, in this COVID-19 fight. And I certainly don't want to forget our folks, your Odessa Fire Rescue, what they have done. All the way from EMTs to paramedics, to the Fire Marshal's Division, to our public safety communications. We're not used to sitting around waiting for us, where are we going to get help from? We're used to being the tip of the spear, and that's how we approach things. We want to make sure that we benefit this entire community of ours. We talked about the incident commander. We had a press conference. I was talking to Ms. Murrow about it this morning. We had a press conference right before Christmas, sometime at the Music City Mall, and we were all there. And I remember we told the community, says, look, we're fixing to open up an ICP, incident command post. And Chief Huber is going to be our incident commander for that. So he was appointed at that point. But I can tell you that he's done a stellar job, no doubt about it. He has really stepped up. Keeps me posted daily on the operations that's going on out there. No matter, when you open up an incident command post, he knows you have incident objectives that you have to come up with. I can assure you that one of the main objectives today is for us to get those that want to get vaccinated, get the vaccine. That is our number, however you want to slice it, however you want to cut it, that's what we want to do. Think of the profound effect that we can have in our community if we were to vaccinate every 3rd person. It's going to be hard to do that, right? Or every 4th person. But just think about the synergistic effect that we have that would get our community to some sense of normalcy where we can open up our churches, our schools, our homes, our businesses, our organizations, and everything else that we need to get this community back on gear. And so here we are. We owe it to the citizens of Odessa. That's how we see it. But we stand here. We stand again, ready to serve and to help with this vaccination wherever that help is needed.
I appreciate that, Chief. Does anybody have any questions, any comments for the Chief or anybody in the incident command, Mr. Albert or Joey at all?
I do. I don't have any questions. Again, I would just like to take this time. This has been a long 10, 9, I don't even know anymore what the months are. But I can tell you that as an elected official, our chief duty is to serve, in my opinion. And so when, as an elected official, it is my duty to serve and to make sure, that I lead by example. And so I've listened to the hospitals. I've tried to help where I could. We as a council want you guys, or I can just speak for myself, but I want, when you start serving, you're no longer I, it becomes we. And I can truly say that we have become we, and it's so important to the citizens of Odessa that they see our hospitals and our incident command post, both hospitals, our school district. It's important to the citizens that they see we working together. And so I have toured the incident command post, and just anything that I've seen you guys put together, it's been above par. And it's been not about you guys, it's been about our citizens, and that's really important. The hospital, I listened to the press conferences. It's not about the hospital, it's about the citizens and trying to make our city a safe place. People are ready for the vaccinations, and I appreciate that there is a plan. I'm not happy that we weren't a hub for whatever reason that was. When I started reading the list, I kept looking for Odessa, and I didn't see it. And hopefully that will change. But I just can't say enough, how the citizens, I hear it when I'm out in Albertsons, I hear it. No matter how many times you guys at the hospital or you guys hear the bad news, just know that there's 10 good stories to that one bad story. But as citizens, we can't give up now. We have to keep masking, we have to keep washing those hands, and we have to keep social distancing. And I think, it's important to our citizens when they look out. They look at Mr. Tippett, they look at their elected officials, they look at our chiefs, and we have to lead by example. We have to be the example that they see. We can't be afraid to be leaders. And it's not always a popular choice, but it is the choice as a servant. We're going to serve our citizens, and we're going to do whatever it takes to try to get to the end of this with as fewer deaths as possible. I've dealt with the COVID way more than I want to deal with it, but I can truly say that I'm proud to be a citizen of Odessa because I see it working for us. And thank you guys, thank you everyone. Michael, that dude sticks in there and hangs in there, he does. And I just want to say thank you because our citizens don't always know the number of meetings you have to go to, the number of no's you're told, and things of that nature that make this all come together. They see it and they see it's working. Let's keep doing what we're doing. I just call it incident post, but incident command post. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep reaching out to our partners, as you call them, because it takes all of us. It takes everybody working together. Mr. Tippin and Miss Timmons, I get Timmons and Tippins, but thank you. I watch you and I see you on the press conferences, and sometimes those questions are really tough, and you handle them well, and you handle them for our citizens, and I appreciate you very much. So let's hang in there. Let's not get tired. We may have to make some changes, even with the way we do things. Even still, we may have to make some changes for the safety of our council, for the safety of our citizens, and I'm gonna be a proponent of doing what it takes to make those things happen.
Anybody else like to make a comment? Statement? Yes, Mr. Tippett.
We can't be the hub because we're the top, because that's where the rubber meets the road and we get this done.
All right.
Preach it, brother. preacher. It was a great opportunity. You had all the elements came together. There may not be a second chance.
You have to have an altar call, so let's just get on.
There we go.
And an offering.
Yes, would you like to ask a question? Yes, please.
Just a quick question. I was noticing in the media where we're accepting patients from outside the area, obviously. There were two that kind of stood out to me. We had accepted 2 patients from Midland, which kind of shocked me. Is there something that medical center can do for these folks that Bill Memorial cannot? And can you give us a reason why we accept those?
This is great. We have one in there from Missouri today, and another one from out of state. So a couple things happen there. If people show up at our emergency room and we admit them, whatever's on their driver's license is where we're reporting them from. So they may live in Ector County, but they haven't changed their license from Colorado. So when we put that in, that goes in as their address on their driver's license. So just because these people say from Midland doesn't necessarily mean that they live in Midland, but their ID says.
So no one should be mistaken that we're transferring patients out of Missouri, right?
That's right. Although we have had calls from all over the nation trying to ship people here, as far as Dodge City, Kansas, and we've had them from all over, trying to find places. It's what's on their ID, and that, y'all know how fast we all like to switch our ID. It's one of the last things we do. So that's the reason behind it. Thank you. You bet.
I want to further reiterate the whole purpose of being, and we'll keep, I would really like to keep this item for the reason is that one of the things is the focus isn't on us, not the council, not the mayor, but focus needs to be on those that are actually, rolling up the sleeves, doing the work, has been doing the work. We've been the city manager, I have the IC command, all the other entities. So I want to be able to commend you. I want to be able to, we're behind you. We're going to work together. We're going to get through this. And we're going to, we're going to be there for whoever entity winds up getting the vaccinations. In order to get through it, we're all going to have to be on the same page, one message. And you know what? I think that we're getting. I'm very optimistic that that we get through this summer, that we may be seeing an end to this thing. And I think that's what everybody is praying for and hoping for. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And like I said, I just wanted to give you a big attaboy. I wish we could do more, but at the point, this is what we can do. We appreciate you, and we're behind you 100%. Thank you for being here tonight. Mr. Tippett, thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. We're going to move on to item 7, citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Since we don't have any, do we?
No, sir.
We have nobody coming forward. We're going to move on to item 8, recess for executive session on personal matters, deliberate the employment, evaluation, duties, discipline, and complaint or dismissal of the interim municipal court judge, Carlos Rodriguez, Texas Government Code 551.074. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I got a motion from Councilman, who made it? Strauss. Second by Councilwoman Willis. Do I have to reread it?
Just the number.
So I have a motion and a second on Government Code 551.074. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicate by saying nay. We will now recess for executive session and then reconvene in open session for possible action.